Wouldn't it be great if your life was like a fairy tale? I mean, they all end in, and they lived happily ever after. Sounds wonderful, right? I noticed another thing that all fairy tales have in common, besides that they all end happily. All the main characters go through some really hard things in their lives. When you think about it, Snow White, her mother died when she was a baby, and her stepmom hated her so much she tried to have her killed. Belle, her mother also had apparently died, or we don't know what happened to her. She never had a mother in the story. And she and her father lived in relative poverty. They were kind of the laughing stock of the village, and they weren't respected by their community. They kind of only had each other for support. And once Belle was held hostage by the beast, she had no hope of seeing her father again. And she didn't even get to say goodbye. Cinderella, her mother also died when she was a baby. And when her dad remarried and then he died, leaving her an orphan, she was raised by a stepmom who was cruel and abusive to her the rest of her growing up years. Rapunzel was stolen as a baby and raised by a woman who didn't love her and only used her, and she was isolated from society. These are not things I would wish for in my life. I don't think anyone would. But I've noticed that all four of these girls in these fairy tales, they all kept a positive attitude, like they were cheerful through their trials. They tried to live the happiest they could for what their lives were at that time. And when their lives finally improved, that's when they lived happily ever after. But I wonder, did they live happily ever after because their lives were perfect after that? Or did they live happily ever after because they learned what made them happy? They had a better perspective because now they didn't have the huge hard things that they'd been through before, and they could see the beauty and the happiness all around them. I wonder. I think my life is like a fairy tale. I've been through some really hard things. I bet you have too in your life. And I now can see a lot of really good things around me. I'm surrounded by people who love me. I live in a free country. I have beautiful shelter. I have plenty of food to eat. I'm never hungry. I'm warm in the winter and cool in the summer. I can talk to anyone, anywhere, at any time. I can go anywhere I want in my car. There's just so many good things around me. It's amazing. Your life may be like a fairy tale too. I think if we try to have a good perspective through our hard times, try to be happy, hope for a better future or a happier future, and make our own happy endings by seeing the sweetness in our lives all around us, then we will have lives that are like a fairy tale.